up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So we've got a major throwback today. We're going to be revisiting the Catchmoon secondary in 2022. If you are a long-term subscriber or whatever of the channel, one of the first videos I ever put out was the Catchmoon secondary when this weapon was first released like 3 or 4 years ago. So it's going to be a nice nostalgia throwback. We're going to show how it works nowadays. It's actually really crazy strong. But the funny thing is that we are so power creep to this point, maybe it's still not even worth it. So, before we get into it, make sure you're subbed and all that, and make sure you check out the live stream channel to see when we go live on the other platforms. Alright, so the Catchmoon primary is not what we're doing today. We're doing the Catchmoon secondary. So this thing is basically an Arca-Plasmor pistol. It's semi-auto, and it has some projectile travel time. Within 9 meters, this thing has a guaranteed impact proc on enemies that are hit. So, guaranteed impact procs. What that makes me think is we have a new mod called Hemorrhage for pistols, which will give us, basically, it's 100 munitions for pistols, but as long as you have a forced impact proc. So since this thing has a forced impact proc, and it hits like a truck, we have about 2,000 damage before crits on our build. It's big slash proc damage. So we're going to quickly show the parts here. This is the highest damage, hardest hitting one in the game. We've got Catchmoon, Killstream, and Haymaker. If you want to switch the Killstream loader to Splat loader, that's a little bit different, but it's the same crit stats and all that, same damage. Alternatively, if you think this is too slow a fire rate for you, you can also go for the slightly faster firing version of using the Love Tap grip instead of the Haymaker grip, which is a little bit faster fire rate, but you know, we're losing about 100 base damage, which gets multiplied by mods and all that. With just primed pistol gambit, we have a 100% crit chance on this weapon, so we're going to show it against these guys. Now remember, since this is an Arca-Plasmor type pistol, it has no headshot multiplier. But we are utilizing the secondary Deadhead Arcane to give it a headshot multiplier. And let's just show how powerful it is. So, we didn't even mean to shoot her. She's taking a 34,000 damage slash proc. Hit her, 125,000, we get some Deadhead procs. So, as you can see, it gets pretty powerful. You can see even bigger numbers of 223,000. This is with no Riven, no outside buffing. That's what these videos are going to be for the most part going forward. Let's debuff this guy, see what our damage number is looking like. And that guy took a 279,000 with no Riven. So, pretty good stuff. Let's try to fire as fast as we possibly can here. This is a viral heat build, technically, because this weapon has base heat and base impact. So, if you put on 2 elemental mods, you will have viral heat. There's also a non-viral build if you don't think that the viral is worth it, or maybe you want to run Lethal Torrent, because as you can see on this build, we don't really have any room for Lethal Torrent. And this thing has a really low fire rate, so you might want to try to fit it on. That's where Rivens are going to come into effect, to be honest. So, Lethal Torrent gives you increased fire rate and increased multi-shot. On the Radiation build, we have room for Lethal Torrent because we're running only 1 elemental mod. As you can see right here, on the previous build, we have Toxin and Ice, making it Viral Heat, which gives us lots of damage, especially good with Galvanized Shots, since we have pretty highly increased stash chance. 39% on the lowest stash chance version possible. Also, Lethal Momentum is a staple mod in this weapon, in my opinion. We've got just 1 elemental mod here. We've got Jolt to give us radiation damage, which is still pretty good. Let's just have a little bit more fire rate. So let's try that out against these guys. Same exact enemies, no debuffing, no nothing. Alright. Try to go for some headshots here. Alright, 34k. Basically the same number we saw last time. But they do have less types of procs in them, also no viral procs. Now, if you're someone that always runs the Panzerwolf, running a build like this radiation one with more fire rate might be more up your alley. Alright, so we only have 2 Deadhead procs here. Now remember, Deadhead does not proc off of slash proc kills. So if you want to get Deadhead to get stacked up, you need to kill trash fodder enemies like this Butcher right here. You can kill them with the base damage quite easily. But these guys, they're basically just dying to the slash proc. So that's going to be up to you. Of course, you can still run Merciless. But you're probably going to get more damage out of running Deadhead just because this thing does not have a headshot multiplier normally. And it's, you know, you want to increase it. The increased reload speed does not really matter for Merciless, so I probably wouldn't really go for it, but it's going to be up to you. If you think that, like, hey, I'm already relying on slash procs, why am I not running a slash Merciless? That's fair for sure. Pax Charge gives us infinite magazine, or infinite ammo, and we basically turn into a battery weapon that recharges over time, means the reload doesn't really matter. You could technically go for Pax Seeker and stuff like that, but it's similar to Primary Deadhead. Pax Seeker does not proc off of slash proc kills. You need to get upfront damage base kills, so... The other arcanes are not really worth it, I'd say. Maybe you could technically save a mod slot by running residual Malador or something like that, but dude, who the heck wants to do that? I definitely don't want to do that. So let's get some Steel Path gameplay up here. It is really, really strong, honestly. But here's the thing. The Archiplasmor Tenant version now exists. And the Tenant Archiplasmor can run Hunter Munitions. The Tenant Archiplasmor cannot run Internal Bleeding because it's a shotgun. When are we going to get Internal Bleeding for shotguns, DE? But the Tenant Archiplasmor also has a lot higher projectile distance. This Catchmoon, I believe it's like base, like not very far distance, and it has major damage fall off. Just reading off the wiki right here, up to 20 meters away you do full damage, but then once you get past 20 meters, you are starting to do a lot less damage. At 40 meters, you're only doing 6% of your base damage, if you could even shoot it that far. So that's something you might want to keep in mind. It's got those forced impact procs within only 9 meters, which that's where your hemorrhage is going to come into effect. Since this thing fires so slow, you get the max damage, max crit one here. You're getting lots of slash proc, and they're pretty strong. As you can, this is the Steel Path, the highest level, Grenier enemies you can spawn in. This is higher than Simulacrum right here. It's just one doink on them everywhere. I mean, like, it's quite easy. That was a 200k slash proc. Now, I don't think we have the Panzer Pilot in this game. No, we do. So these guys are taking more viral procs. This is more of a realistic in-game situation here. And also note, we are running Merciless in this gameplay footage. This is technically less damage than if you were running a Deadhead setup. But, it's much more easy to execute a Merciless setup on the Catchmoon versus a Deadhead setup, because we basically need to be hunting down butchers to get those headshot procs. So, yeah, overall, really good. Let's start to get the weapon grades on the screen here. So as far as mob clearing, B. It's above average. I'm not going to give it A, even though it can cleave through like 10 enemies in one shot. The projectile distance that it can go is not very far. And also, like, the projectile is not that wide. I honestly, like, the Ignis Wraith probably has a more wide projectile than this thing. But, this has a 100% crit chance with no Riven. So, with my Riven, we can check that out at the end here with my Riven. But, Acolyte kill speed, A. If you were to run a Corrosive build on this thing, I could see you one-shotting an Acolyte with this. This is a viral, basically a viral Hunter Munitions build, and it, like, 3-shot the Acolyte. So, still really, really good. We have really high base damage. You got really high crit stats. It's very good for killing Acolytes. Not as good as a Strofa, of course, but still, as far as pistols, this is one of the best pistols for killing an Acolyte. Max stats potential of a D. Unfortunately, it's not really a great max stats potential weapon, but it's still, it's good enough. You're not, like, really using it for multi-procs. If you wanted to use something like the Cedo to, like, massively proc these guys up, then fire at them, that would be crazy damage with Galvanized Shot, which does work on this weapon. But yeah, basically you have impact and heat as the two innate elements on this thing, or innate damage types. So with this build, we've got viral, heat, impact, but it's already got a forced impact proc, so the impact might as well not even be on the base damage. So yeah, maybe closer to C, but the fact that you really can't get much out of this thing is why it's at D. Overall score of B, an above average weapon, and it's nice that it still kind of holds up in 2022, as this thing used to be the meta secondary in the game years ago. It's definitely not the meta anymore, because, like, secondaries aren't really the best DPS sources, honestly. There's certain weapons that can, like the Null Prime can be a DPS source. This kind of could be a DPS source. I'm sure there's, like, the Atomos. There's some weapons that can, but for the vast majority of situations, it's going to be primaries or melees or even abilities that are going to be your main damage source in Warframe in 2022. But this thing, it still holds up. I'd still rock it. I might go for the faster fire rate version with the Love Tap grip instead of the Haymaker grip, which is a little bit less damage by 100 damage points, but it has faster fire rate, almost 2 fire rate. But you do want to make sure you keep your fire rate below, I believe it's 2.5, to make sure you have that doubled status effect chance on the hemorrhage builds. So yeah, overall I'd say maybe go get it if you don't have it already. The Archiplasmor Tenant version also exists, so if you already have that, maybe don't get this. But it is worth having the arsenal. Now let's quickly show a Riven, just how much Rivens can help you here. So we've got let's use this one. This is an old Riven. You've got multi-shot and crit chance with minus puncture on the Catchmoon Riven. So it's only 92% crit chance, so it's weaker. It's like basically half the stats of Prime Pistol Gambit. But let's see how high we could get the crit chance. So we'll just jam it right here, I guess. 132. It definitely used to be higher than that. But sure. Let's actually put on the radiation build here. Since we've got room, we'll take off Lethal Torrent, we'll put on Septicron, so we're at 132 with a little bit more multi-shot. And it's going to one-shot them without the Riven, so there's not going to really be much of a difference here. Alright, to get their Deadhead stacks up, there was an orange crit, that was kind of nice. Now, that initial upfront was about 61,000, compared to the other time it was doing about 34, but that's just RNG, to be honest. 113k. 148k with no debuffing. Let's debuff her, see what happens. With debuffing at 280k, I've seen 400, nearly 500k without a Riven, guys, with no debuffing. So it's really powerful. It's just, you might still not need it because we're so power creeped at this point with nothing to really use the power creep on. So, yeah. Hope you guys found the video helpful. It was fun to revisit this thing, and I'll see you guys later. Take it easy. Peace.